I'm Nick Altmeyer, linkinglewiscounty.com. We're here today with Jalen Heems and Jeremy Chartrand, both with SnowBelt Housing. Thanks for stopping by today, guys.
You're welcome.
And we're here with some important information for residents of Lewis County who may have been impacted by the July 10th flooding event, mainly here in Lowville, but reaching out to large portions
Anywhere
of the
in the
central
county,
part of the county. So on July 31st, we learned that the state had approved $5 million in emergency funding for homeowners in 11 counties impacted by the event, and Lewis County was one of the counties. So SnowBelt has applied to be the administrator of those funds. So tell us a little bit about the program and what your guys' role is going to be in administering that and getting some funds out to homeowners that might have been impacted.
Sure. So we are looking to apply to the HCR program. We can do up to $50,000 worth of repairs or replacement funds. So if you've already done a repair and you can provide us with the invoices for labor or materials, we can reimburse for that. It does have to be homeowners. We were able to advocate for higher income limits, so you can be up to 100% of the area median income. Can we post that on your site too?
We can. And
Yeah.
I think we talked a little bit about, if you're a family, a one-person household, the income was in the $50,000 range, all the way up to a
Yep.
family of four was in the $84,000 range?
Yes.
Okay. So those are your income guidelines to be eligible for funding from this program.
Yep, and we don't want anyone to get discouraged, but those income guidelines are hardline and they can't go over them. But we want everyone to apply and just see where they're at, because the more applicants we get, the more data we have, the better chances we have of securing as much funding as possible from the state right here in Lewis County.
Okay. So, Jeremy, if you can tell us a little bit about what are some of the damages a homeowner might have experienced that would qualify for funding from this
Okay,
program.
so the main thing we're looking at is, number one, you have to own your own home, but we're looking at things that are concerning health and safety issues. So, for example, if you got a flooded basement and lost your furnace and have to replace your furnace, otherwise your house isn't livable because you won't have heat. Water heaters that were damaged and removed. Anything like that that isn't a luxury item is more an item that is necessary to be able to live in your home. Those are the areas that we will focus on once we are able to get this funding.
Okay. So, maybe even like some people have electrical panels and things like that in their basement that might have been damaged. Maybe because of the flood waters, you're dealing with some mold issues, so you might have to go through some mold mitigation or something like that. So those are all kind of eligible things for health-wise for people to be able to stay in their home.
Correct. And us at SnowBelt, we have a rehab coordinator and we have inspectors and anything else, and they can help determine, what's eligible for either reimbursement or further repairs resulting from the storm on July 10th.
Okay, so what we're encouraging people to do right now then is, if you are a homeowner that was impacted by this event, that there is a link we can throw up where you apply through the state. You guys will be administering this program
Locally.
possibly locally in the long run. So when it comes down to making the determinations of who qualifies for what and things like that, you guys will be sending out local teams of people to assess people's damage, looking at photographs, things like that, and making the determination of what.
Yes, and I think it's important to note that if you apply to us, if you have any damage, you can reach out to us and get that process started, because there might be other programs available right now that may not qualify under this program, or even our regular rehab program that does some of the larger projects. So you may qualify for some of that too.
Okay.
We do have to wait for the awards to go out, but the more people that apply on that survey in the state level, it shows them how much need that this county has, and we'll be more apt to get that awarded.
Right. And that leads us right into the next thing. So you guys have a short survey here. It's about 3 pages. And this is through SnowBelt Housing, and we'll post the link to this as well. This is a survey that you would like anybody that has any kind of damage to fill out this survey. So maybe even if you're a renter, not necessarily a homeowner, anybody impacted by the flooding should fill out this survey, and that might lead to more funding opportunities and different programs opening up once the needs are known of exactly what the impact was here in the county.
Yeah, and I think we keep our ear to the ground, so we're listening for what are the concerns of the community, who was impacted, what's available funding, like pushing for the higher income limits, because it did not discriminate based on income, that's for sure.
Right.
But what we found is there's some issues that homeowners are having, or even renters, that aren't covered under any available funding. So car damage, total loss of clothing. I even saw one that was like homemade Christmas decorations. I was like, oh, we could do that.
Right.
But it's assessing what the current damage was in the community.
Right.
How do we prepare in the future? There could be local donors interested in helping out with these programs. So the more information we have, the more we know how we can respond locally.
I think we were even talking about too, like, a lot of people locally might have freezers in their basement, stocked up with, working on food for the winter and things like that. So like those are things you're interested in as well.
Yes.
Did you lose a freezer full of food or something like that?
Yeah, all
as
your
well?
meat storage, like how long were you out of electricity?
Right.
Was it flooded and unable to be repaired?
Right.
A lot of the small electronics aren't covered under these programs.
Right. And I think that's another impact that people might, flash flooding is exactly that, flash flooding. So the water moves in really quickly, and it seems like just as quickly it recedes and it's out, but all this damage is left behind. So, if your basement got flooded out and your electrical panels down there, it might take a few days, weeks to get that all repaired where you have electricity back in the building again. So in the meantime, we've had people that have been displaced, have had to stay in other places, can't stay in their home. So those are all impacts that, you want to hear about as well.
Yes, and I mean, I'm just in awe how quickly the community responded as neighbors to help each other out. So I think it was really important for us to advocate for the reimbursement as well. Like some things can't wait. You can't wait for an electric panel or air conditioner. There's health and safety around that as well.
Right.
So we're trying to get that reimbursement and then find the families that, I had to skip my electric bill or even a mortgage payment so I could get this done because the health and safety of my family is a priority.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out that and how long is this damage going to last, or families that lost all that stuff and we have school in a couple months.
Right.
So how do you prepare your family for school when you just had to pay out $7,000 for water heaters or
right.
So we're really trying to determine what the impact is and what role locally we can do to help out.
Very good.
What's very important, especially with the survey and going on to our website, snowbelt.org, and going to the HCR link. One of the major proponents of securing funding is actually having data that backs that up, so we need the numbers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know people are probably tired of filling out surveys, etc.
Right.
But we need to do that so we can show, hey, we actually have a need. We went through
Right.
a very traumatic event that most of us have never experienced here, even living here our whole lives.
Right.
This is what we need, and here's how the individuals in this community can help us try to help them.
So you mentioned snowbelthousing.org is your website?
Can we are launching a new website in 3 weeks, but this one is harder to update, but we do have it on our social media, and then we'll share it with you and all the community service agencies and stuff.
Okay.
It's on our Facebook page.
So SnowBelt Housing Facebook page. I think we also discussed that people can give you a call. What's your number?
It's
315-376-2639.
Okay, 315-376-2639.
And then it'll give you several prompts, so if you would, it'll tell you exactly who the rehab coordinator is.
Okay.
And she'll be able to answer many of your questions when you call the office.
So if you need a hand filling out the state survey online, but mainly to get this survey in people's hands, they can call your office and you can email them a copy, send a copy in the mail if necessary. I'm
We
sure
could do it over the phone.
can do it over, fill out the survey for you over the phone. Okay.
If you don't have the internet or anything, these are just data collections. We do want the contact information so we can reach out to you. But we can fill out all the all the information if you give it to us over the
And
phone.
people can stop by your office?
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
You're right on South State Street?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Other side of the street.
Yep.
Down a
Okay.
little bit.
Yep. Okay, so those are how people can get the survey, and like we said too, we'll put a PDF of the survey right on the homepage of our website too, so people will be able to access that and fill that out and return it to you as well. As far as, again, so this is a great program for homeowners. We have been getting a lot of questions about, what assistance is actually available for homeowners. We've heard a lot for businesses that were impacted, and, a lot of programs for those, specific entities. But this is the big one for homeowners, and we're still waiting on the FEMA declaration. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so this is a state program. The state has set aside the $5 million to help homeowners assisted by the event, but there's also the potential that we could get some funding from the federal government through FEMA programs, which I think a lot of the guidelines would probably fall under similar.
Similar, yes.
Okay, so a lot of this information you're collecting can actually be useful, and you talked about people having to fill out a lot of forms and things like that. But this could kind of streamline it for some upcoming funding that might be available as well.
Yes. Yep. So anything that we apply for as a local administrator, we can use this information for, whether it be the housing or the critical needs programs, or even, like I said, local donors. We can use this information for here's how our area was impacted.
Right.
And we can also use it to prepare for the future.
Okay.
It's important to note that the $5 million that was approved by the state is also being, distributed among 11 different counties. So a lot of counties are out there submitting their data, trying to get the same amount of funding that Lewis County is. Our goal is to get as much as possible.
Right.
So we don't have $5 million now.
Right.
We are aiming for a biggest chunk of that as we can possibly
And the state
get.
is making those determinations on allocations based on the applications they're receiving right now. So is there, it leads to the next question, is there like a deadline for people to apply or to get this information to the state or to you guys? Like, how quickly does that need to happen?
I hope to submit the final with at least the initial information that I've received from Lewis County and the needs by Friday.
Okay.
And then by September 1st, if we can get everything that's impacted, we should be able to communicate that to the local funders or additional local funding sources, so we can try and get that critical needs program up and running.
And when would you anticipate the state making the award announcements for how much each county is going to receive?
I would say by September, because they do have to run it through their boards. They have to get all the applications and score them, and then they're waiting on the link for the HCR surveys result to sort of aid them in that decision making and distribution.
Okay. And once you guys have that award announcement, like, what's the timeline looking for you guys to get out and assess people's damage and actually start getting the money flowing to people to make repairs and things like that, or reimburse them?
Well, I think it will depend on, is it reimbursement or some of the larger inspection projects. So the reimbursement ones we hope to get out within 30 to 60 days, depending what the needs are.
Right.
It's hard without data, because it's hard to anticipate, like, the whole house. But some of the inspections we typically can schedule within 30 days after we gather all your documentation.
Okay.
A part of the last page of the survey isn't anything to fill out, but it's just sort of a heads up of, here's the typical documentation that we require to start this program.
So kind of like a checklist of information that you guys.
So if you want to start gathering that, you can hand us that packet.
Right.
That'll make it a lot faster.
Speed up the process a little bit. Okay, perfect. Okay, so just to recap, we're talking about the state's announcement for some funding allocations for homeowners that were impacted by the July 10th flash flooding event here in Lewis County. SnowBelt is looking to administer the program. So what they're asking for people to do right now is get the application into the state and also reach out to the SnowBelt office, give them a call, visit their social media page, their Facebook page. I'm sure they can message you through that as well and get
Yes.
some answer to any questions they have. But I think the main point to drive home here is we understand that people are getting overwhelmed with the amount of paperwork and things that are required and being filled
Yes.
out, but this is really an important process in lining up some of these funding streams. So anybody that was impacted, whether you're a homeowner or not, this particular stream of funding is only for homeowners, but there are other opportunities possibly available for somebody or for other people. So you guys want to hear from anybody that was impacted at all by the
Yes.
flash floodings on July 10th, and then your office can kind of compile that data and apply for different programs and distribute money as needed.
Yes, the only thing is, I'm pretty sure the state said either of the July flooding events, so was it the 10th or the 17th? July 10th, and
16th.
tornadoes on the 17th in
Yep.
Lewis and Ida. So I'm pretty sure if it was either of those July events, then
Okay.
we can,
Okay.
or related.
So I think some places down in the southern end of the county, I think the
Had
July,
the wind damage, right?
yeah, the July 10th or the July 17th event, I think was when the tornado touched down in Rome, and I think we might have had some impacts in the southern end of the
Yes.
county with some wind damage and rainfall as well. So if you were impacted by that event as well, reach out to you guys, and you guys can track the damage from that too.
Yes.
Okay, so far it's been a pretty eventful summer, and you guys have put in a lot of hard work in getting some of these funding streams lined up for people. So just really important for people to reach out and contact you and get that information to you guys, so you guys can make the best decisions about where the funding's going moving forward and how to get some of that funding. So
Yes.
we appreciate you guys coming in today. Was there anything else either of you had to add before we wrap it up?
I think we are all set. Again, questions, just reach out, 376-2639, and we will provide the best answers we can with the data we have now,
Okay.
and we'll continue to move forward and work through this program.
And time is of the essence here, so the sooner that you can get this information to you guys, the better it's going to be, and possibly more funding streams are going to open up for that. So thanks again for stopping by today, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.